Hello everybody, I'm Tina Chaudhary. Welcome to my channel and a very warm namaste. A few days ago, a very close friend of mine, she's a young, beautiful girl, posted on her social media that she was going through a period of loneliness, depression, and anxiety. The truth is that a lot of us are going through the same feelings: loneliness, depression, and anxiety. The ongoing pandemic and the fact that it's gone on so long, the fact that you can't hug a loved one or shake hands with an associate or coworker is very hard to deal with. Experts will tell you that the best way to deal with certain similar things is to do a deep meditation. But deep meditation is quite difficult to do. It requires a lot of practice, and you need to be trained on how to do it in order to get the best results. So is there something that we could do that gets us the same results as deep meditation would be? You'd be surprised to know that there is actually a very easy activity that would actually get you the same results. Let me tell you about that. This activity that I'm going to talk about is so powerful that Buddhist monks practice it for days and months in order to train their minds to attain peace and calmness. This activity has its origins in very ancient cultures and religions like Buddhism and Hinduism. And that's why it's so powerful. The activity that I'm going to talk about today involves working with what's called a mandala. What is a mandala? A mandala is an abstract geometrical diagram or design constructed using squares or rounds, and it's perfectly symmetrical. It has an outer edge and it has a central point, which is called a core. This design represents the universe and the cosmos at a metaphysical level. The central point is a symbol of our own inner self or soul. A little deep, but actually when you work with it, it actually works beautiful. Now here's what you're going to do with a mandala. Generally, mandalas are black and white designs. You can either choose to create a mandala, you can look at some of the images on the internet, and you can choose to either recreate the mandala by drawing it, or you can choose to create your own mandala. But it's a little difficult to do that for beginners. So this is what I suggest you do. You take a black and white image of a mandala and you color it. You can use any coloring medium. You can use crayons, pens, pencils. And you can, where do you get the black and white mandala? You can buy a mandala coloring book, which is freely available in Amazon. You can buy it in a bookstore, or you can actually, craft stores such as Michael's and Hobby Lobby carry them. So you can actually buy this. Or actually, internet has free images that you can download and print on paper and start coloring. Now, how do you color this? You always have to do it starting at the edges and move inwards to the core. There's no right or wrong way to color it. You don't have to think of which color comes next or which color comes first. You have to work at it at an instinctive level. And the coloring has to be done very mindfully. Meaning that when you start coloring your mandala, you have to just start picking up one color after another. You focus on nothing but the mandala and the colors. I know that when you start first coloring it, your thoughts are going to go to all those mundane things and all those stressful things that are bothering you. But the point of the exercise is to only focus on the mandala and the regularity of the mandala, the symmetry of the mandala, and the squares and the shapes that are in it, and coloring it. If your mind wanders to other things, you have to bring it back into the mandala and focus into the shapes, the coloring. That's how this activity works successfully. So you heard right. Coloring isn't just for kids anymore. In fact, a pioneer of modern psychology, Carl Jung, suggested that coloring activity is actually a very good de-stress for the mind and calms the mind. Now, why does it do that? Because coloring activity has been proven to use both hemispheres of our brain, the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere of our brain, and hence it's like a workout for the brain, after which the brain feels really energized and it relaxes it and feels good. When our brain is relaxed and feels good, in fact, our body actually starts to go through a healing process. Not only does the body heal, but it actually improves the immunity of the body as well. Hence, after an intense mandala coloring activity, you may actually feel very relaxed. Your physical body actually also starts to feel relaxed. That's a really good reason to start this activity, isn't it? Now, what's the best time to do it? I suggest, well, actually you can do it anytime, but it works really well after a busy day at work or through a stressful day and at night, because coloring the mandala relaxes the brain so much that it actually promotes good sleep. So it's actually a wonderful thing to do before you go to bed or after a hard days of work. And now let's decide what we're gonna do with the mandala after you've finished coloring it. Well, take a look at the mandala after you're finished coloring it. If it makes you feel good and the colors make you feel really good, then what you should do is you hang up the mandala, or you keep it or save it or put it up somewhere where you can see it occasionally, or however much you want to see it. If you look at the mandala and the colors are jarring and you just don't like looking at it, then I think you should tear it up and just throw it away. Why is it that certain mandalas will make you feel good and certain mandalas will make you feel not so good? It's because while you're coloring it, your thoughts, your emotions, and your energy is actually being put into the mandala. The mandalas that make you feel good are actually the ones where your energy was good and you were feeling relaxed, and you put that into the mandala. The mandalas that make you feel not so good is where all your negative emotion, your stress, and your feelings of anxiety and depression are thrown into this mandala, and the mandala is carrying it, and hence it's such a great idea to actually rip it up, all your stress and your negative emotion, and just throw it away, because that's what the mandala was supposed to do. Take away all your negative emotion, your anxiety, loneliness, and depression. So that's what you're supposed to do with your mandala after you're done coloring it. And so I'm an astrologer and I'm going to connect this to astrology. So what's the scoop on that? Well, the 5th house in your birth chart, there are 12 houses. The 5th house represents love, your children, education, hobbies and crafts, having fun, and the best thing, healing from sickness. When you start coloring your mandala, it's considered a craft or a hobby, and once you start doing that, it activates that beautiful 5th house. Who knows, once you activate that house, the 5th house, what else it could bring in your life? Falling in love, getting love from your children, or starting another educational program, or healing from a sickness that you may be suffering from. It's a wonderful thing to do. It has more benefits than just relieving your stress. It's activating that wonderful 5th house, and I think it's a great reason to start doing that. Get started on your coloring your mandala, and let's see what it does for you, the beautiful results that it gets you. That's it for the mandala coloring activity, but I do have another point that I want to make today before I end the video. There was a lunar eclipse on November 30th, and lunar eclipses always kind of mess with our minds because the moon represents our mind. So this time it happened in the house of Taurus, and Taurus rules our mouth. So please be careful what you say to people, or what kind of food you eat. Make sure you're eating good food so you don't get unhealthy, and also what you're saying to people, because sometimes when the eclipse happens in the house of Taurus, which is our mouth, we may be saying nasty things, being insensitive to people's feelings and hurting them. So you may have already done that, because the lunar eclipse, the effect starts a week before and up to 2 weeks after the lunar eclipse. So happened on November 30th. So just be very cognizant and sensitive to people's feelings. Stay tuned for my next video, which will come out very quickly in a few days, because there's a big solar eclipse happening on December 14th. There's also a lot of planet activity that's going to go on in December that's going to really affect all our lives, and good and bad. But I'm going to give you the scoop and the details on that for my next video. Make sure that you share my video, subscribe to my channel, and hit the like button if you like it. Make sure you share my video, because there's so many people that are going through a period of loneliness and depression, and if you could help them out by suggesting this activity, I'm sure that would be very much appreciated. So thank you very much. Have a wonderful, wonderful, healthy time. And that's it for now. Goodbye and good luck.